Shruti Smriti Purananam Alayam Karunalayam Namami Bhagavat Padam Shankaram Lokashankaram. Yesterday we saw how Yajnavalkya defeated Vidagdha Shakalya. Now there are no more challengers for Yajnavalkya in the whole of Brahmana Sabha. Everybody is silent. Yajnavalkya has to prove that he is the supreme Brahma, realizer of Brahman, Brahmanishta. Now he asks one question to Sabha. Any of you can ask me a question, or all of you together you can ask a question. Okay? Everybody is silent. Nobody opens their mouth.
That is the question.
Okay. Then Yajnavalkya says, I will ask a question to you people. Okay? If anybody can answer that question, let me know. So Yajnavalkya throws a challenge to the Sabha. So entire Sabha, anybody can answer this question. Please get up and answer. What is the question? The question is, he compares man to a tree, a human being to a tree. Okay? How he compares a human being to a tree is just like a tree. The tree takes food from the ground and sunlight and grows, and one day it dies. Tree produces the fruits, human beings produce the children. So we are like a tree. I mean, there are the vessels within the tree for carrying the water. We have blood. So human being is like a tree. Okay? The tree is dependent on the roots. The tree grows on the roots. So Yajnavalkya is asking a question. What is the root for a human being? Is there a root for a human being? Okay. So if you say parents are the roots, the roots means where you started. Parents are the roots. Then the question comes, who are the roots for the parents? Where is the, what is the substratum or the basis for human beings or parents or living beings? Right? So now parents, your biological parents will not come with you. But your roots are here now. Roots are always there with you. What is that root? Is the question. So nobody is answering it. Everybody is silent. Okay. So the question asked is, Jata eva na jayate konvenam janayet punaha vidnanam anandam brahma atirdatuhu parayanam tishtamanasya tadvida iti. So human being is born jata eva. ಹಾಗಲ್ಲ, ಅವನು ಹುಟ್ಟುತ್ತಾನೆ ಅಂದರೆ ಅವನು ಹುಟ್ಟಿಸೋನು ಯಾರು? So human being is born. Okay, I'm not asking who the human being is born. What is the root of human being born? Who is the root of, what is the root of human birth of human being? Then he himself answers. Vidnana means awareness, and bliss, Ananda. Chit and Ananda, Sat, Chit and Ananda, Brahman or awareness is the root of a human being. Without that awareness, there is no possibility of a human being. The being aspect of human is nothing but awareness. One who knows this, a Gnani, he will attain the supreme. Brahman. The knower of this attains the supreme Brahman, Gnani. Or somebody who does charity, yajna and dana, knowing that I am doing it for Brahman, also attains the supreme. Means he lives a life with understanding that I am living the life for God, the supreme reality, Brahman. He also attains the supreme. This is what Yajnavalkya tells. And what is the nature of Brahman says? Vijnana and Ananda, means awareness and bliss. Okay.
Jnana is awareness.
Now here it's used as Vijnana, Ananda. So now, this is a question which is asked to Sabha. Question is asked to the people who are gathered there. Nobody answers and Yajnavalkya himself answers. After answering the question, Sri Shankaracharya tries to explain the answer. Okay. Now he takes the word Ananda, the bliss. Now what is this bliss he is speaking of? What is the bliss Yajnavalkya is speaking of? Ananda is the question. Many of us have joy in life, various kinds of happiness in life. Right? So, the happiness which we have can be categorized as physical happiness. It's called pleasure. It is available to sense organs. Okay? When I drink a cup of coffee, it's pleasant for the tongue. The smell is pleasant for the nose. Right? A touch of other human being is pleasant for the body. Sex is also a physical pleasure which is sense organ, which is actually skin and the body. So we derive some pleasure from the happiness from the body. It's called pleasure. Right? The pleasure or the happiness from the body comes with the contact of sense organs with the world. The moment the contact is gone, the pleasure disappears. The contact is gone, the pleasure disappears. There may be pain or there may be a state of no pleasure and there is a craving for pleasure again. This is the nature of happiness related to the physical level. A physical contact. Many times we get happiness through mental contact. We remember a situation. We remember a place. Now the physical contact is not there, but mental contact is there. Oh, I had gone to this place, so wonderful. Now you are making a mental contact, not physical contact. The mental contact is called happiness. The pleasure is also happiness, but because of physical contact, the mental contact is called happiness. Okay. So happiness also is followed by no happiness or unhappiness. It's also temporary. But Ananda is something beyond. Okay. That Ananda comes from the word Ananta, infinity. This is what Sri Shankaracharya is trying to analyze. What is Ananda? Okay. Because we should not confuse. We should get a clarity about Ananda, bliss. Okay. Now the question which is asked is, in many places, many people, okay, when they have happiness, they'll say, I had Brahmananda. Right? Then it's colloquial language. Right? I went to temple and had a darshan. Oh, it was such a Ananda, such a Brahmananda, they'll say. Right? People say that. The Brahmananda word is used in the colloquial language for a great happiness. Okay. So Upanishad also use the word happiness for many situations where Ananda is used. Ananda derived through music, Ananda in devotion. So many places Ananda is used. Okay. So now, what is the real nature of Ananda is the question which Sri Shankaracharya is asking. Right? What is the real nature of Ananda? So if you can get Brahmananda through drinking, having a darshan or drinking a cup of coffee, you can as well do it. Right? So, if Ananda is happiness derived through sense organs and you call it Brahmananda, you keep having it, enjoying it. Why all this study of Upanishad and Brahma Sutra, Bhagavad Gita? What is the sadhana all about? Right? So this is a question. And Upanishad also use the word Ananda in many contexts. Ananda for Gandharvas, the musicians, all those things. So Shankaracharya says Ananda means Ananta, infinity, which is no beginning, no end. Is eternal. It is always there. Okay? So if that is eternal, if it is infinity, then there is no question of a body and mind and object for that experience. Because infinity cannot have a object. Infinity cannot have another object which is required for happiness. Right? In infinity there is no other. So there is no question of making contact with something else. So for getting happiness through cup of coffee, you need to make a contact with coffee.
You are saying Ananda is a feeling. So feeling of infinity and happiness are two different things, no?
No. The word Ananda confuses people. No. See, in colloquial language we use Ananda in many ways. Happiness, Ananda or happiness in Sanskrit, in local language we use in very many places. It's trying to analyze what is real Ananda.
Feeling of infinity is called Ananda.
We'll come to that. So Ananda comes from the word called infinity, Ananta. What is infinity? Only bliss. Any finite cannot have bliss. Okay? Anything which is finite is always has a fear. Something will overtake me. Anything which is finite, okay, we cannot have a happiness.
So happiness is a temporary feeling of infinity.
Yes. So now I will get to that. Okay. First understand word Ananda. Ananda means Ananta. What is infinite? Infinite, which is something which is not bound by time, not bound by space, not bound by action. That only can be infinity. Infinity cannot be result of something. If it's a result of something, it's not infinite.
We'll have to be craving for the result.
Yeah. So you have to depend on the result. So Ananda or Brahmananda, which Upanishads speak, is not result of anything. It's a nature of Brahman, nature of the self, nature of awareness. Okay. So if it is infinity, then there is no question of experience and experiencer. Experiencer and experienced. There's no split there. There's no duality possible in infinity. Okay, that's why it's called Ananta. If there is an experiencer and experience, there's still a split.
Still finite.
Still it's finite. So the Ananda which Upanishad speaks of, Brahmananda which Upanishad speak of, there is no split of anything. It is infinite by itself.
So infinite is synonymous with non-dual. You are saying that, right?
Non-dual. Infinite means non-dual.
They say creation is infinite, but there are a lot of objects in the creation.
Creation is appearance of infinite. Okay. So Ananda is infinity. The Ananda cannot change, or it's not conditional. A cup of coffee have and I'll get a Brahmananda is not Ananda. I sang a bhajan and I got Brahmananda is not Brahmananda because it's conditional. If conditional happiness is not Brahmananda. Then if the conditional happiness is Brahmananda, then there was no point in Upanishad speaking of Mukta, Jivan Mukta and liberation and all. Okay. A happiness which is unconditional not conditioned by time and space, not conditioned by boundary, is Brahmananda. So, from the very definition of that, it's not an experience. Because any experience is temporary. For an experience to happen, the experiencer is required. A happiness where there is no experience and experiencer is the supreme happiness, is called Brahmananda. Because we may start confusing with Brahmananda. Okay? And we use the word Brahmananda as a very colloquial language in various places. Somebody the other day was telling that he went to a temple and a big queue was there and he got 1 second in front of the God, and looking at the God he had a Brahmananda. Okay? So now that 1 second or conditional happiness is not Brahmananda. That's what I am trying to say here. Brahmananda means unconditional, infinite happiness. Infinite. It's not an experience, because we start confusing the experience with Brahmananda.
And you mean to say it should stay forever? It's not like it comes and goes.
It's not a forever, it is eternal. Eternal happiness. Okay? Infinitude. So, then some other people come and say, okay, because there is no experience with experiencer, so there is nothing called Brahmananda. Brahmananda means removal of unhappiness. Dukkha nivritti. Your suffering is removed, then what remains is Brahmananda, they say. Okay? So, if suffering goes, there is a Brahmananda is there. If suffering goes, there is a Brahmananda. This is one view of that. Then another question comes, if Brahmananda is that infinity, why Brahmananda is spoken of in other scriptures where there is a relative happiness? So people sing, then there is a word called Ananda is used. Bhajans and music and all. Okay. Sri Shankaracharya says, there the word Ananda is used in a relative term. Okay. Ananda with happiness, when you sing, there's an experience of joy, experience of happiness. This happiness came to you because the mind became silent for some time. When the mind became silent, the infinite happiness, infinite bliss of the self is got reflected in the mind. So, then why Upanishads use the word Ananda for such happiness? That's only to indicate to you what is the nature of ultimate bliss. It's only a pointer. That way, Upanishads give many examples to pointer to Brahmananda or supreme happiness.
Basically, absence of mind is Ananda.
One example which Upanishads give is you experience Ananda in deep sleep. Bliss. Okay? Bliss is an example of bliss of the self. So in sleep what happens? There is no other. There is no duality. There is no experiencer and experienced duality. Okay? So Upanishads say you experience Ananda in sleep. Okay? Now is that Brahmananda? No. Still that is also a pointer to Brahmananda, because the sleep is also conditional. You cannot sleep forever. Sleep appears and disappears. Then why Upanishads are using relative experiences to the pointer? Because the absolute experience you have to point to something with something what you know. The closest to absolute experience what you know is deep sleep. Bliss. So what is the closest experience in deep sleep? You are, there is no other, no world, no body, no mind. Okay. So then there is no experiencer and experienced. There is no subject-object duality. Then what is there is ignorance. I am Brahman, ignorance. I am Brahman, that wisdom is not there. the knowledge is not there that I am Brahman. While the bliss is experienced in ignorance. But for us, that's the best pointer to the bliss of the Brahman, Brahmananda. There's no duality, but also it's said that Brahmananda is not because of ignorance. Brahmananda is an eternal happiness, non-dual. It's always there. So then, has Brahmananda disappeared in the presence of duality in the world? No. Entire world is appearing in Brahman, but Ananda of Brahman, Ananda of self is never disturbed. It's eternal. It is non-dual. Brahmananda doesn't appear and disappear. Brahmananda is, Ananda is the background of all our life, all of existence. So it's non-dual. It is eternal bliss. So contrast has to be made between the relative happiness, relative experience and absolute happiness or Ananda. So relative happiness or experience requires a body, mind and intellect, and it requires a contact with the objects, either physical object or mental object. Some people get a happiness in intellectual pleasures also, or study of something and all. That's a contact with the intellectual object, idea. But absolute happiness, Ananda or Brahmananda, is independent of any action. And it is there in the background of all of your life. When you say, I go, I come, I do, that I, the real I, which is awareness, in the background of all your actions. Is I or the awareness affected by any of your actions? So you say, I am happy. The next moment you say, I am unhappy. Next moment you say, I am angry. Has anything happened to I, the real I in the background, which is there all the time? If something had happened to the real I in the background all the time, unhappiness would have been permanent or happiness would have been permanent. They are coming and appearing and disappearing in that awareness. Awareness per se is eternally unaffected, blissful, and I am that awareness, Brahman, supreme reality. This is the analysis of Sri Shankaracharya about the Ananda. Because this dialogue is short, he has expanded and he has tried to take the word Ananda and try to expand, make us clear. So the Ananda of the Atma is independent of the body. Whether body is there or not, whether happiness is there or not, pleasure is there or not, they are all temporary, but Ananda of the Atma, the self, is eternal. It doesn't change. Is it not your experience? Has anything happened to your I? The real I, which is there in the background of all of our thought process, is anything happening to that? So all temporary events, happiness, unhappiness, joy, sorrow is superimposed on that. But all the while the pure awareness which is in the background is unaffected. And that is Brahman. That's infinite, which is your nature. So that's why the whole purpose of scriptures telling about various types of Ananda is to only point out to the absolute bliss. And to point out to you that this relative bliss, relative happiness, whether it's music or drinking a cup of coffee or tree or sex or sleep, are coming and going, but your nature is absolute happiness, bliss. You don't need the body and mind and intellect to be that happiness, because you are that happiness. So the purpose is to point out to you the ever present infinite bliss of Brahman as the background of all your activities. And that's why mukti is important, because without ignoring that happiness, we are always constantly craving for happiness through body-mind complex. And body-mind complex, happiness is coming through a contact, a physical contact or a mental contact or intellectual contact. And to make the contact, a lot of effort is required. And the result is not guaranteed. Happiness and unhappiness come in that contact. They are relative happiness. So Upanishad is saying, when you are of the nature of happiness itself, why are you worried about this relative happiness? Experience that supreme bliss of the self directly through Atma Jnana.